What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy, and today we're talking Game Week 35, and more in particular, the free hit. I've got mine activated, unlimited transfers, completely brand new team just for this game week. Said I was going to use it on a blank before the season even started, and that is what we're doing. Obviously, there's some teams that are missing out this week, not playing. There's a limited number of matches, so I'm going to go through my free hit, talk about some of the points that I'm thinking about with my team, captain, things like that, and try and cover some of the key talking points for this week, which don't necessarily involve whether you're on a free hit or not. Obviously, as always, might not cover everything, but you can always leave a comment below and let me know if I miss anything. So I'm just going to jump straight into it, go through the points and show you my team as it stands right now, although it is definitely subject to change. So these are the points. So obviously, I'm recording this, the Man United game's just finished. They've just beaten Bournemouth 2-0. Lukaku came on, got a goal. Before this game, I was ranked 25,012th in the world. So I was at 37k before this game week began. I said it'd be nice to get into the top 25k. Obviously, anything further than that is a bonus. But I don't have Lukaku. A lot of people have captained him. I think the top 10k average went up 16.5. And I only got 6 and 7 from Lingard and Davern de Gea, so 13, so I'm just below the 10k average for tonight. So I'll probably remain around the same, maybe drop a little bit. I'm on 88 points so far for the double game week. So obviously I don't know what's going to happen by the end of the week. I've still got 7 more players to come. Unfortunately, one of them, well, I would have had 8 if Alonso hadn't got banned, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, 88 points I'm on so far. So when you watch this, there'll still be, it'll be Thursday onwards, so there'll still be 2 games to go, the Burnley-Leicester game and the Chelsea game as well. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully William plays. We've got triple Burnley. Bench boost is doing pretty well at the moment because I brought in Kevin Long. But yeah, I'll leave that there. We'll talk about Game Week 35 instead, because that is what this video is intended to be. So Alonso, obviously got retrospective action, was charged for his stamp on Shane Long in the Southampton game. Seems a little bit harsh, only because the referee was looking straight at it. I don't really see how he can say he didn't see it, but it was a stamp. Probably would have got a red card if it was seen in the game, so fair's fair. So he's going to be out for 3 games, which are going to be Game Week 35, FA Cup, and Game Week 36. So if you're free hitting like me, obviously it doesn't matter for Game Week 35, and it's only Game Week 36 you got to worry about. And then Game Week 37, he'll be back for the double. If Emerson really performs well, will he get to stay on the side? Maybe. But I think they're going to want Alonso back in, especially after he's had a rest, even if it's an enforced rest. So double Game Week 37, I think I still want him for that. If there's any risk, you know, Conte kind of mentions that he might not play both, or he's going to give Emerson a chance because he's played really well, then maybe I won't. I'll get rid of Alonso eventually. But I'm not in a rush to do that. Obviously, I can't do it this week because I've blocked myself from doing that because I got a free hit. And in Game Week 36, if you're holding Burnley players, they've got Brighton at home. So I potentially even might play both my Burnley players. If Ben Mee is still out and Kevin Long is an option, I may play Kevin Long and Loughton as well in my team. So we'll see. I don't feel I need Alonso for Game Week 36. It's not a huge issue. I'm probably not going to need the money for anything either. So right now my plan is to keep him and play him in double Game Week 37. If you're not on a free hit, and you got plans that you could spend that money on, so if you've got a player you could bring in that you need that money for, you might want to get rid of him. Obviously Chelsea haven't been performing. I don't know what they're going to do in their second game of the double game week, of course, because it's not panned out yet. And also I've just realised at the start of the video I said it was Leicester and Burnley, but I've just realised it's Leicester Southampton. So yeah, Chelsea are playing Burnley, so we'll see what happens in that game. Obviously William might not play, Alonso's definitely not going to play, so who knows what's going to happen between now, FA Cup, and Game Week 37. But for right now, I'm keeping Alonso. I'm going to play my Burnley defenders in Game Week 36. That's my plan anyway. Press conferences are key. Now, this is advice you could give every week, because you should always listen to the press conferences, see what the manager says, who's fit, who's not. I think this week in particular, because Liverpool got Champions League, obviously Man City have now won the league. What are they going to do? They get Klopp and Pep both going to rotate. Have a listen to what Klopp says. Last week he said we can field a full strength side pretty much because of the amount of time we've got. Whereas for Game Week 35, they've only got 3 days until they play Roma. And then 4-day break after that to the next game. So it might be Game Week 36 where they play a full strength squad. In Game Week 35, they go weak to save their players for the Roma game and try and get a clear lead from that first leg. So luckily at Anfield Express on Twitter, they don't always have the full lineup. They've usually got an inkling of who's going to start. So the week before last, they had the full team. and last week they knew that Salah was going to start, and they've been pretty accurate so far. So I'm keeping an eye on them, and they're going to make changes based on that. So we'll have to see what happens. But the Liverpool game for the next 2 weeks in Game Week 35 and 36 are both early kickoffs. So hopefully we'll have team news. So listen out carefully for that. Obviously with Man City, they've won the league now. They don't need to play players, they can rotate players now because they've got nothing to play for. Again, we'll have to see what Pep says. Does he want to go for these records? There's goal records, there's points records. Swansea's the next game. Swansea are in a relegation fight. Pep may say something along the lines of, we need to play fair, play a full strength squad to keep it fair at the bottom of the league and things like that. So keep an eye out for that. I personally think for this game, because although they won't get the trophy against Swansea at home, it will be their first home game since they won the league. Obviously that only happened last week, or in the last match. So I think they'll play a full strength squad, and maybe, make 3 substitutions, bring off like De Bruyne, Sterling, who've had cracking seasons, Company, who's the captain, just get a standing ovation from the crowd for those players. Maybe even David Silva, obviously, has had a lot of family troubles, and he's kind of worked through that and done really well for Man City. So I'm sure the fans want to give him a big kind of round of applause for everything he's given them, as well as the rest of the team. So I think he's going to play full strength, but we're going to have to listen out in the press conference for that. And then I've put Jesus there as well, because Aguero, depending on what source you read, whether it's, I think his dad is commenting, he's commenting, basically he's had knee surgery, that's confirmed, but it's how long he's going to be out, which isn't. So I'm sure it's his dad or his agent are saying 10 days and he's back in training. Other articles say he's going to be out for a month, could be out for the rest of the season, we don't know yet. But Jesus, especially for free hitters in Game Week 35, looks like a great option. And if Aguero is going to be out for a while, Man City have Huddersfield and Brighton at home in Game Week 37, double game week. So Jesus looks really good for that. And they don't really have a striker they can play instead now. Against Man United, for example, they played Sterling and Bernardo Silva up front, so they could play like a false 9 instead of Jesus. That is a possibility, but right now I think Jesus looks good. I think he's going to be pushing for starts. He's probably got the number 9 or the forward or whatever you want to call it for Brazil anyway, but he's probably still going to want to start to keep sharp for the World Cup. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know whether managers really care about their players wanting to play in the World Cup. But I'm sure Jesus is going to want to start. He's missed quite a few minutes this year, so I think he looks like a really good option. And then Game Week 35 defenders. I'm talking about my team really, but I'm struggling to pick defenders this week. There's not really too many that stand out. So what I'll do is I'll just go through my team as it is now. Like I said, this is subject to change. It's basically a wild card. I can make as many changes as I want. I'm going to do that right up to the deadline. I've obviously got to take into account what happens the rest of the double game week. It might affect my thinking a little bit, probably not too much just because of the teams that are involved, but I like to get the game week out of the way and then give this a proper thought. So I'll go through my team as it is. So I've gone for Butland in goal. Now, Stoke are in trouble. Defensively, I don't know if we can really bet on them, but Butland's been really good for save points. I know Burnley have been doing much better recently. Chris Wood, for example, is in really good form. We saw Barnes was in form a few weeks ago, so he could be one to look at as well. But I think this one's potentially one where they could get a clean sheet, Stoke. So I've gone for Butland in goal for the save points. And then in defence, Callum Chambers is probably the one that sticks out to most of you. He's top for goal attempts, I think it is, for the last 4 game weeks. And because of the rotation Arsene Wenger is employing in the because of the Europa League, he's been playing in the Premier League. So that might change because Wenger did make some kind of comment about how their attack and defence, maybe their tactics or just the players he's picked have not been performing as they should. The kind of attack and defence isn't gelling together. Obviously, they haven't been performing well in the league, but at this point, that feels like the league is just over. Top 4 is just not going to happen. Europa League has to be the kind of focus for Arsenal. So Chambers could play again, and if he does, it could be a really good option. 4.7 million as well. He's really low owned. He's a differential. I've got really good memories of him getting a goal, assist and clean sheet in the previous season. I couldn't even tell you exactly when it was, but I really appreciated it at that time, so I'm hoping for that again. So he's in right now, but he's a possible risk if Wenger goes big at the back. So it could happen. They're playing obviously at the weekend, and they've not got a game till Thursday, so it could be the game after where more rotation happens, but we'll have to wait and see. Then I've gone for Van Dijk because I think West Brom are doing quite well at the moment. I'll have to wait and see whether I think Liverpool are going to rotate heavily. If they do, then I might not go for Van Dijk. But if they're not going to rotate heavily and play a mostly first team squad, or first 11, then I want Van Dijk, because defensively they've been really good this season, especially since him and Robertson have come in. Goal threat is there. I know West Brom, to be fair, did really well for crosses and stuff against Man United with Higazi, like heading everything out, clearing everything, but I think Van Dijk will be in there. And then Baines, he did so well for me for 1 week this season, potentially on penalties, maybe attacking returns. Are Newcastle going to be on the beach? I'm not so sure Rafa Benitez is just going to let them stop playing. He doesn't seem like that kind of manager. He's going to want them to keep pushing on. They are in really good form. They have been scoring goals. I just hope that Big Sam wants to get one over on Newcastle and just show him kind of who's boss by tightening up and maybe Baines getting a clean sheet there. I did have Coleman in originally, actually. I have both of them, but I'm not so sure I'm going to do that now. And then going into the attack, Man City have got Swansea at home. I think that's a really good fixture. Like I said, I think they're going to play full strength. They're going to absolutely go for it. Kind of breaks are off now. Like, they were never on, to be fair. But I just wonder if they're now playing without any pressure whatsoever. Whether that'll just make them even better, maybe, I don't know. But I'm not really going for one of their defenders because I want to max out on attack. So De Bruyne has been really good at home. Kind of got persuaded by that on the Scoutcast I did last night. After kind of Jonty and that mentioned how good he'd been at home, I went and checked, and yes, he has been. But I'm still not guaranteed that I picked De Bruyne because I do like Sané. So if I think Sané's going to play, I may switch that. But Jesus and Sterling, they're nailed on the team. I think Sterling gets so many chances that he's always bound to put one away. If he does have his shooting boots on for that particular game, then he could get a brace, maybe an assist as well. He could be on for a big haul. So Sterling's pretty much nailed in my free hit squad, as is Jesus because of the reasons I mentioned before. He's obviously now nailed because Aguero isn't in the team. So De Bruyne is still up for debate. I don't think you can call anyone crazy for having him. Obviously, he's been really good this season. Brilliant for Man City. There's talk of if David Silva plays, that he kind of stunts De Bruyne's attacking potential. But right now, I've gone for De Bruyne. That's my 3-man City. Salah needs no explanation. He's also my captain. If there's any hint that he's going to get rotated or rested, I'll actually be quite happy for a start, because that means we can pick a different captain. I think there will be quite a bit of variation, because you could go for De Bruyne, Sterling or Jesus. Even Sané, maybe Aubameyang as well. So there's lots of choice. I know a lot of people will probably go straight to Aubameyang because he's not going to get rotated because of the Europa League. But I'm looking at a Man City player. I'd actually like to captain Sterling, but I might just go Jesus, because Jesus has actually got a really good points per game return when he's played this season. So he looks like a shoo-in for the captain if Salah isn't going to play. But otherwise, I have to go for Salah. If he plays, he'll be super highly captained. It's West Brom. They're going to have to fight now, West Brom. They're going to have to try and attack where they can. And to be fair, they tried that against Man United. They did sit quite deep, but they were still pressing at times and trying to win the ball back. And obviously, Rondon was holding the ball up and stuff like that and passing out to the wings. Kind of McLean and that Phillips running forward. So they're going to have to attack, and that's going to suit Liverpool. So if they play full strength, I don't see past captain in Salah. And then Zaha obviously playing really well. Hopefully he'll be up front again. Watford not looking great right now, conceding goals, so he's in. That's a bit of a knee-jerk, I think, but he has done really well over the last, I think it's 3 or 4 weeks since he's come back. So it's not just the last game where he scored 2 goals, but that is definitely, obviously, the forefront of my thinking. So he's still up for debate as well, because I'm looking at Arnautovic, who's also been in pretty good form. But with Hernandez there and Andy Carroll back now, I just wonder if he may still start games up front, but whether those two will just keep coming on. And kind of tainting the amount of returns he can get. So I've gone for Zaha instead of Arnautovic, but I do have enough money to make that switch if I want to. And the Balassi is my punt, basically. I just hope that Everton can do well in that game. He's got pretty good stats for the last 4 weeks, kind of shots inside the box and stuff like that on target, right up there with the top midfielders. So he's kind of my punt, very low owned as well. I don't think many people are going to go for him, especially if they haven't got a free hit. So I've gone for quite a safe team for the most part. But I think Balassi and Chambers, they're kind of nice differentials, which shouldn't hurt me too much if they don't perform. And then, like I've said, Jesus and Aubameyang out front. On the bench as well, because I've got De Bruyne, I've had to go quite cheap. If I go for Sané instead, I'll have a bit of money. And I will make that bench much better. I know there's always the risk that my bench then scores well and I don't get them on the pitch, but so be it. I'd rather have a decent bench who can then come on if any of these get rested, like Chambers or Salah or Van Dijk or someone like that. If I'm not quite sure and I keep Van Dijk and Salah and then they get rotated, I'd rather have a good bench. I've got Robertson, Perez, who's been really good for Newcastle, and then, like I spoke about earlier, Kevin Long, goal-scoring hero from the first game, double game week 34, so he's on that, only 4 million, and Hennessy is back up. So that's how it's looking right now. Two things. One, let me know what you think of this team, and two, what is your free hit team looking like, and how's your team looking like in general if you don't have the free hit? Do you think I've made any glaring mistakes with this team? Is there anyone I've missed out that I should definitely have? I've not even mentioned Shaqiri. Obviously Stoke now fighting for their lives. He's the best quality player Stoke have got. He's going to have to step up now. He's on set pieces. They've got Burnley at home, which could be a decent fixture. Like I said, Burnley have been in good form. They don't tend to concede many, but at this stage of the season you just don't know, especially when a team's got something to fight for. So Shaqiri's someone I've completely, I've definitely thought of, but he's not in my team right now. So like I say, let me know what you think. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a like. Subscribe if you're new around here, that'll let you know when all the videos are going up, when the streams are going up and stuff like that. I don't know when the stream this week is going to be. I'm hoping to still do it Thursday, but I've got a lot on tomorrow night, so I don't know if I'll be able to make it. If I can, I'll try and do it Friday, so we'll see what happens there. As always, follow me on Twitter, Andy85WSM. I'll let you know exactly when I am or am not streaming. Otherwise, I'll leave you there. Like I said, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you later. Good luck in Game Week 35.